BJ from More Game Gumbo. I've got my guest here, Chris Glein, designer of I drew a blank there, Studies in Sorcery. And we're talking some of the spicy hot games we played recently. I got to play a game from Starling Games called Flourish. Are you familiar with Everdell, Chris?
Oh, I've definitely seen it. I never play it. I mean, it leaves a visual impression. So yeah, but I haven't played it before.
It's the first thing that people notice, right? I mean, I remember when I was at BGG a couple of years ago and they had it on the table and you walk by and you see this big giant cardboard tree. Here's a little tiny game. Flourish could have been in a tiny box this big with the cards, but of course with Starling Games, with the same designers as Everdell, they overproduced it a lot to make a bigger game, and they call it Flourish. It's really it's not what people are going to expect. If they're going in expecting Everdell, that's not what they're going to, that's not what you're going to get. But let me tell you real quick. I mean, look right here. This thing fits in the palm of your hand. Those are the scoring tracks that you basically, the dials, they call them, it goes up into the hundreds, and they're just giant. You get a ton of them for everybody to play. And of course, you have the big, beautiful artwork, just like you had in Everdell. I mean, this artwork is just absolutely gorgeous. But what you're doing in Flourish is you're building out a 3x3, and then one more, depending if you're playing solo or if you're playing with a multiple group. You're building out a garden and basically a 3x4 grid of flowers. It's a little bit of set collection, but it uses that pick and pass mechanic that we're so familiar with from Seven Wonders or from Paper Tales or any other games like that, where you got a hand of cards and you're looking at them and you're trying to figure out what to keep and what to give away. The twist in this one is I like the way you do the pick and pass, in that you're going to take one of the cards, put it face down, and then you're going to give not all the cards to your neighbors. You're going to keep your hand, but you're going to give one card to the left and one card to the right. And the cards are going to play off of each other. So some of the cards are going to be pretty simple, where like you see in this picture right here, let me see if I can sold it up. Some of the cards are going to be, see those roses on the left side? Yeah. Those are the elements, the roses that you can use to score. The scoring itself comes from the top and from the bottom right. The top left shows you what you're going to score on that 3-card row for that round, and you play 4 rounds. And the bottom shows you what you score at the end of the game. It's looking for all the elements on the cards, but the twist is some of those elements actually refer to other people's cards. It might be the highest scoring neighbor. It might be both of your neighbors. You might have to have more neighbors. So it's different ways of trying to score, and it's very, very interesting. Now, is it overproduced? Absolutely. Look, this is basically a card game, and we played the card game, and it was interesting. But it got more interesting, surprisingly to me, because the overproduced elements go with modules. Our old friend Johnny Pack loves to talk about those modules. And in this particular case, they included 2 extra modules in the signature edition that, to me, just in my opinion, I think are essential to the game. The modules bring in 2 expansions. The main one to talk about tonight is the Friends and Follies expansion. The Friends are just, you get 2 cards, and you can score a lot of points if you can symbols that you've collected to one of those cards. For instance, you might get 7 points for every 5 roses you have. Now, the other people don't know that, so you're trying to collect them. They can kind of figure out what you're doing, but you're trying to hide that. The more interesting one is the Follies one, and that's what these little cardboard pieces are. That's where on each end of each round, you got to take one of those cardboard pieces, and they match up to the 5 different sets, the roses, the vines, the little mushroom-looking things, and you got to put it on one of those cards. It's got to match. So you see I'm putting roses on roses, and then for every rose that you score that's orthogonally adjacent to that folly, and folly is just an old English word for like a sculpture, in the backyard, something in your backyard, some element, some garden element. When you put those in there, you're going to score. So now all of a sudden, I'm trying to score 3 different ways. I'm scoring by rounds. I'm scoring in-game on my cards and my neighbors. And now I've got these other elements where I've got to put the elements out each round so that I'm sure that I score. If you don't put one of those elements out, it's actually a negative. I think it adds enough of the element to really, from a little 20-minute card game into a deeper, thinkier game. And I've had a lot of fun exploring that Friends and Follies module. Personally, I wouldn't play without it. I think it only comes in the signature edition. So if you're looking at a Flourish, I'd try to find a copy of that. What do you think? This is not tiling, so we're not talking Barron Park, but we're talking about
Yeah.
that set collection and pick and pass. What do you think of the combination of those two? Interest you?
Oh, well, yeah, I'm definitely into that. I love card drafting, and just that is a game in itself, like making interesting decisions like that. It's really interesting hearing about these extra little folly bits that lift things off of the card, because you've got this like flat plane of cards, and if it really
Yes.
is like that's the thinky thing, that's the thing that elevates your like next level strategy, having that highlighted with like an adorable little thing, uh, that's nice because it draws your attention to it, makes you think like you're thinking about a different sort of problem when you're looking at those, which sounds great.
Absolutely.
Adorable.
I thought, okay, this is just like the big tree in Everdell. This is not really going to matter. Nope. When you put those elements on, it helps you to visually connect with the
Yeah,
orthogonals. Now, the fences, you put fences between you and the other players. I don't really need that part. I know that my cards are going on one side of the fence, and the cards are going on the other side of the fence. I get all that. That I thought was unnecessary. But these elements, these little cardboard elements, as they rise up, it's not really kinetic energy because it doesn't feel like any movement. It's a garden. But what it is like you said, it's a focal point for your brain to think
yeah.
orthogonally in terms of how those scored. So it went for me from being all this unnecessary cardboard. And by the way, thanks to Bradley who did the unboxing, I didn't have to put together all these pieces because there's a lot of pieces in this game. But to me, it draws your attention to what those orthogonal parts are, and it elevates the game to something that I think any gamer who likes, look, this is not for your Ameritrash dice chucking guy. This is for a person who likes the puzzly games. So the way that you and I were talking about Barron Park, where you like the
Yeah.
puzzle of putting stuff together instead of being polyanomos. Oh man, I'm having trouble with it tonight. You're playing cards instead and trying to set collect with the orthogonal choices. So that is Flourish. That was one of those cards I was telling you. I'm showing a picture of the Friends card where it's a nice little flower, and you're going to get all those points for collecting those
Oh,
sets.
that's beautiful.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool art here. I actually can't remember who the artist is, so I apologize. Yeah, pick and pass, 7 Wonder style, beautiful art, and that is Flourish from Starling Games, and it's out right there.